Great. All right, welcome to the Basics of Electronic Permitting Workshop. We are going to go ahead and get started first with just an introduction of the presenters that we're going to have today in this workshop, which are all staff members of Clark County Building Department. I'm Shannon McEwen. I'm the manager of building permits, and we will have with us Vanessa Palomo, building permit specialist, and she's in the permit issuance work group. We also have Stacy Rainwater. She's our supervising building permit specialist. We have Tarek Shalon. He's our assistant manager of plans exam. We have Dana Margaritas. She is assistant manager of building permits. And we have Katie Bradley. She's our management assistant. Matt Brewer, manager of inspections. Dennis Wright, our senior records technician. And Ava, our management assistant. So as you can see, you have a lot of supervision and management here in this presentation. So hopefully at the end, when we open for questions and answers, you can take full advantage of having us all here to assist with any questions you have. So first thing to be aware of is there's other departments and agencies that are a part of the building permit process in being able to obtain a building permit. So before you're submitting for your permit, make sure you check with your utility companies like Las Vegas Valley Water District, Clark County Water Reclamation Districts. There's also some other departments and agencies that are involved. We have comprehensive planning. Although they're not a part of our department, they do the zoning plan review on a lot of the permit types, and it's a required review. Here you'll see their information if you need to contact them. We also have Public Works, and they are the civil review on some of our permits that have grading and those grading type review requirements. We also have the Nevada State Contractors Board, and their information is listed here as well, and their website. They have a handbook that we use here a lot to assist with what contractor license types are authorized to do certain types of work within their license. So that's a really good tool to have and use and look at if you have, questions on if your contractor's license can perform the work that you're submitting permit for or obtaining a permit for. Then we also have the Blue Book. The Blue Book is something else that we all use frequently here at the building department. And it just has a lot of really good basic information on there. My favorite part is the frequently asked questions section at the back of this book. And it just kind of helps answer some questions that you have based on who you are, whether you're an architect, contractor, owner, builder. And it's questions like, who can prepare the plans for the permit I'm submitting, who could change stamp plans that I have, what types of work can a general building contractor perform. And they have a lot of answers in there based off of NRS requirements, code requirements, and some other requirements there. So that's a really good resource. You can also find them on the website and take a look at that book. So you could find this information helpful before you start your building permit process. So to talk a little bit about our website, we have our website. It has a lot of information on there. You can see a picture of it here. Off to the left, there's the Citizens Access Portal, how do I, what jurisdiction I'm in, and services. The services section has services such as the permit issuance work group, the plan submittal work group, inspections. There's a lot of information on here. So, I also highly advise that you check out our website, and we have application forms on there, how-to guides, industry notices like you see in this screenshot here. And we're even starting to put some of the job openings that we have. These are current ones that we have open right now. And Also, our live online permit processing workshops. Take a look at that link. We have workshops scheduled every month through May right now, and we'll keep adding them as we come up with the topics. And if any of you have a certain topic that you'd like to see a presentation on, please share that with us as well. We're up for having any workshops that we can to help our customers with information that they'd like to know. Our main phone number is 455-3000. It's a phone tree, where you push one for this, two for that, whatever. But we also have a phone number for our customer service desk, and that's a live representative that's going to be answering that phone. If you don't get somebody that live answers right at that moment and you leave a voicemail, they will call you right back. We have a team now dedicated to, live assisting you throughout the day. Something to be aware of is that a lot of customers think when they're in the Citizens Access portal applying for the permit that it's the website. It's not. They're two different things. Like I kind of talked about a little bit before, certain services that are on our website is our service groups on there. You can click on them. They have all the guides, forms, whatever. Then on the Citizens Access portal, that's what you're going to go visit, and you're going to register to have an account to apply for your permit electronically. You as the customer are going to use that Citizens Access portal to submit those permit applications. So the Citizens Access portal is something that you as the customer use to apply for permits. Acela is what the Clark County building permit staff use. It's our permitting software. And then we also have another system that we use called ePermit Hub, and that's our plan review software. It integrates with Acela and the Citizens Access portal, and it pretty much houses all of the plans and versions them, so our plans examiners can go in there and review them and then stamp and approve them. So if you hear those terms being used by us, that's what they are. Something to make sure you check too before you get started with your permit is to make sure that you're within our jurisdiction. You can go on to the website, just click on what jurisdiction I'm in, type in your address into the search box. And if under jurisdiction you see CC, that means you're in Clark County. If you're not in Clark County, you could see in there city of North Las Vegas. But then that way you know that you're within our jurisdiction and should be submitting permit through us. As I mentioned before, the Citizens Access portal that you apply for a permit in, if you haven't already and you're new to the system, you want to go into that portal and you're going to create yourself an account. Every applicant will have to have an account in order to apply for a permit. If you need information on how to set up an account, on our website under Citizens Access, there's this page here that you can see, and we have a guide on how to set up an account. There's some other guides on that page as well. And if you click on Citizens Access Knowledge Base, there's also a bunch of other information and guides on, how to navigate through that portal and that permit process. If you are a company creating a Citizens Access account for permits that your company is going to be applying for, we suggest that you set up a general account with a general email address for your company versus individual employees' email addresses, because if the employee leaves your company, promotes on to another company, whatever the case may be, then and you don't have access to their email address, then you're not going to be able to get into their account and see what permits they were in the process of processing. So we just suggest that you create a general email address that your whole company can use. And you could always add individual employee email addresses as additional contacts on your permit. And then everybody can keep moving forward with permits and see everything they need to know with that general email address if something were to happen to the individual employee at that company. There's also some information here where you can add additional contacts, how you add an additional contact onto your permit or your account. And with that, I'm going to pass over to Vanessa, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about contractors and what the permit issuance work group is looking for.
Okay, so this information is for contractors only. Permits being used, issued as owner builder can skip right over this step. Every contractor must have a citizen access account, and you must make sure that you link or add a license to that account. To do that, when you're in your account, you're going to click on the account management on the upper right hand corner, and that'll bring you up to this screen for license information. Under that license information, you will do a search by adding your Nevada contractor's license number. You want to make sure you add the 2 zeros in front of the number, otherwise it won't find your license. Once you do that, you'll hit find license, and then you'll select and connect and then click OK. Can I get the next slide, please?
Sure.
So the status will show pending once you connect your license to that account. It'll take approximately 2 to 6 hours when requesting under the normal business hours, longer if our office is closed. When the license is approved, and the status will change from pending to approved. And then if not, the customer will receive a rejection email with information on how to resolve and obtain that approval.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move on to plan submittal, so the application for your permit, and I will turn over to Stacy Rainwater.
Good afternoon, everybody. So we're going to talk about how to apply for a building permit. So the first thing that I want to point out is that with our Citizen Access Portal, you don't only apply for building permits here. You can apply for comprehensive planning things, fire prevention, public works. So it's just important that this workshop is geared towards building. So in this case, we want to make sure that we're hovering over the building header and then select apply for permit. You're always going to be prompted to agree to the general disclaimer, and then you can begin the process of selecting your permit type and then making your way through that application and plan submittal process. Next slide, please. So, of course, if you ever need detailed instructions like Shannon pointed out, you can find all that stuff on our website under the Citizen Access Portal knowledge base. There's a bunch of different things there, including the step-by-step instructions. If you're ever not sure, excuse me, about the permit type, or if there's something that you're looking for that's not on our website, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm here a lot and I answer my phone a lot, but I think the best way to contact us would be through email. That way, if there's a form we need to get to you, we can just reply to you with that form and things like that. I just want to kind of point out here, in general, if general construction work is being performed under a general contractor, meaning mechanical, electrical, and plumbing is included, all of those associated plans should be submitted with that building permit application. We don't want to separate those and necessarily make those standalone permits. There is an exception to that. So say, for example, you have 2 scopes of mechanical work, meaning you've got some ducting work and then you've also got, it's a kitchen, a commercial kitchen, and you've got a type 1 or a type 2 hood that's got some sort of, fire suppression component to it. In that case, we would go ahead and issue a separate standalone mechanical permit to that contractor, because you would have 2 separate contractors on the job. So I know that's a little bit confusing, probably at these beginning stages when you're just applying for a permit. But again, if you have questions or if you're not sure exactly what permits or how many permits, give us a call, give us an email, and we'll be happy to help you. Next slide. Okay, so this slide, it basically goes over the steps on how to upload your plans and your application forms. So this kind of picks up where, as at as if you'd already applied for your permit, right? So your step one, you'll log in, you'll click building, and then you'll click search for permits. You'll type in your permit number. It'll take you to the plan room and so on. So again, these are just kind of detailed steps on what to expect when you're uploading, validating, processing, naming all of your files, etc. So once, of course, everything's complete and you've got everything uploaded and everything looks good and you've met all the requirements, your status is going to be pending. And what that means is it's now made its way into the plan submittal queue, and we're going to be performing a cursory review of your project and your application just to make sure that we've received everything and everything is ready, for lack of a better word, for plan review. I think we can go to the next slide.
Okay, and just really quick, there's a lot of information on this slide. Not to worry that you have to take really detailed notes. We are happy to share this presentation to you after the presentation as well via email.
And so this slide discusses document types. So I know that we pretty much have a category for everything that you'd want to upload. But when all else fails, we do have a kind of a catch-all, if you will, called documents. We try to use that as sparingly as possible. So hopefully the things that you're uploading are pretty straightforward, such as the items shown here. You know, obviously every application is going to need an application form. 9 times out of 10, you'll need a site plan, etc. So the documents that you should be uploading should have a corresponding category that are within the same name, right? So electrical plans, grading plans, and so on. Again, if you're not sure, you can always reach out to us. And next slide. So this last slide here outlines the overall intake process. When I told you how your record status would go into pending. So that's where we're going to just do a cursory review of your application, make sure your plans and everything are complete as possible. The goal at this stage is to avoid you going into plan review and then you get an automatic correction letter because, you know, we didn't get a site plan with all the information, or it's missing, you know, some minor document that if we'd asked for it, now you'd just be in review and you wouldn't get a correction. So I know sometimes, you know, we're all in a rush to get our permit and it seems like, you know, it's pulling teeth to get through intake, but we really are just trying to make sure that you have a complete submittal. So that way, once it goes into plan review, they can get to the goods of actually reviewing the plans and you're not held up for something administrative. So it's pretty straightforward. If everything's good, the contact person will receive an email with plan review fees that are due. Once those fees are paid, we'll accept it and the status will change from submitted to in review. On the converse side, if we are missing something that's required, the status will be turn into waiting on customer, and you will get the contact person or applicant will receive an email with a list of additional information requirements. So that could be anything from a completed application form to you know, an electrical plan. It just depends. So we like to be able to submit, but in the event that, you know, you're missing something, you will be notified. This slide here kind of just gives you an outline of how to reply to an additional information request. So you would log in again, of course, search your permit number. It'll take you to your plan room, your uploads. You'll click resume, give us what we're asking you for. And it's very important that when you go through, it's going to take you through that processing and validation phase again. So you don't want to just, oh yeah, hurry up and get that in there. You want to really make sure that you follow that whole process by clicking the continue button and make sure you hit finish. The telltale sign is when your status changes from waiting on customer back to pending. That's how you know that we've gotten it. So again, if you're not sure about any part of this process or you have questions, you can always reach out to us. We're here to help you. It's e-plan submittal. I'm sure we'll throw it in the chat, e-plan submittal at clarkcountynv.gov. And with that, I think that's my last slide.
Thank you, Stacy. Next, we're going to talk about what we call push permits. And on the Citizens Access Portal, a lot, you'll just see them as standalone permits. So basically, these type of permits are going to be your sub-trade permits, standalone permits, where you're only doing electrical work, you're only doing plumbing or mechanical work, and it's not combined with any architectural or structural work, which then would be included with a building permit. Residential solar permits, residential pools, temporary signs, demolition only permits with no construction, revisions with additional scope, and airspace only certificates. Those type of permits bypass plan submittal and go directly to plans exam. So make sure, because you're not going to have that plan submittal team kind of guiding you through saying you missed this, you missed that, or make sure you upload this, that you're answering all of the questions that you're going to see there in the Citizens Access Portal, and you're answering them correctly and honestly. Those are put there to make sure that your permit gets put on the right path and we have everything we need so you can get your permit quicker. We also have what's called simple online permits, and they're a type of push in a way as well, because they don't go through plan submittal. And these type of permits don't even go to plans exam. So they are in, just like they're called, simple form. Some permit types for that. We have simple, mechanical, and electrical, and online solar field reviews. And then also when you have a sales office for a tract home that you're converting back to garage, those type of permits are done completely online. You're going to apply for them online, answer all of the questions, make sure you answer them honestly. If you say yes or no and you get some red language there and it's telling you that permit type isn't a simple permit isn't allowed, if you said yes in this selection, don't just switch it to no and keep going, because then you're going to get this permit, pay for it, have an inspector come out to tell you the same thing, and that you're going to have to submit back in. So, but if you meet all of the requirements to be a simple permit, then that's pretty nice that you can just apply for it online, pay for it online, get your permit right there, right away, and then you'll call for your inspections and an inspector will come out. So some of those are, meter replacement, meter test and tags, that kind of thing. So with that, I'm going to move on to plans exam, and Tarek is going to present for us.
Hello, everyone. So we require a complete submittal. So if in order to do conduct a full plan review, so as an example, and this is something we got today, if your cover sheet says lists, or sheet index lists architectural, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and you only gave us architectural, we're going to issue a correction letter for that. I mean, because in most cases, the review may not proceed. It's not possible to do without a complete set. For processing status, there are a series of instructions on our website under Citizens Access Portal and how to check the status of your permit. Click on check your permit status under Citizens Access Portal, and then you will get the menu that's to the right of the screen. And if you have a green check mark next to a discipline, that means it's complete, the review is complete. If it's an hourglass, it means it's in progress. Either it hasn't started yet, or review started but not yet completed. Next slide, please. If corrections are required, you can view those in the Citizens Access Portal. Again, click Citizens Access Portal, and on the left side, the next page, you click E-Plan and then reviewing issues, conditions, and notes. There's also instructional videos on how to upload corrections to our website by selecting uploading corrected plans and docs. In the Citizen Access portal, go to Plan Room and then Uploads, then select Resume. This is similar to what Stacy was talking about with the plan submittal process, initial plan submittal. Again, you have to follow the process through to the end. If you don't click Finish, we will not receive your corrected or revised documents to review, and the plans examiner will not be notified. If all disciplines, once they're all approved, all the disciplines, the plans go to plan coordination or fee workup. And you must be a listed contact on the permit to submit corrections, revisions, download approved plans, or pay fees. Next slide, please. So these are our service goals for the different categories. So for this is for first review only. For commercial, it's 21 days, and commercial is anything 250,000 or above. Commercial minor is 14 days, and that's anything below 250,000. Commercial 7 days, that's anything below 100,000. That's 7 days review, first review. Standard plans, that's 21 days. Custom single family residence, 21 days. Residential minors, 14 days. Revisions and corrections are both 10 days, and then phase projects are 42 days. And I think that was it. Yeah.
Okay, and that's calendar days, right?
Those are calendar days, not business days.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to addressing now, and Dana is gonna tell us a little bit about addressing.
Hello. So the building department acquired addressing services from the Department of Comprehensive Planning in December of 2023. The addressing work group is under the Permit Application Center, Permit Application Center Division, known as PAC. They are responsible for the maintenance of the addressing database. They coordinate with assessors, GIS, emergency services, and utility agencies. They assign the addresses to residential subdivisions. They review new street names and street name changes. They also process address changes at the request of a property owner or developer. And they work closely with zoning plans examination with the assignment of new addresses during the building permit process. Addresses and street names are assigned based on the Las Vegas Valley Street Naming and Address Assignment Policy adopted by the Board of County Commissioners in 1988. Commercial suite numbers are assigned for the following guidelines. The suite numbers will correspond to the floor it is located on. For example, first floor will begin with 100, second floor will begin with 200. A suite address will be in increments of 5 or more to accommodate future subdividing. For example, 100, 105, 110, 115. This allows for additional suite numbers to be assigned if a tenant space is divided in the future. A suite number address will not be alpha or alphanumeric mix. The post office mail sorting machines can't accommodate letters. And if the building is renovated, it must comply with current suite numbering guidelines.
Thanks, Dana.
You're welcome.
All right, next we'll talk about plan coordination, which is what happens, like Tarek said, as soon as the plan review is complete. And I'll turn it over to Vanessa.
Okay, so once all the departments have reviewed and approved your plans, the permit will make its way to our plan coordination team in order for us to add any conditions that will be required prior to permit issuance. Here are the various types of conditions that could possibly be added to your permit, and the conditions can only be met once the permit is in ready to issue status.
All right, that was short. Short and right to the point. So if you have any questions with conditions or getting that permit to ready to issue or meeting those conditions after that. E-plan issuance at clarkcountynv.gov is the email that you would use to contact Venisa's team. Thanks, Venisa. With that, we'll talk a little bit about fee workup, and I'll turn it back to you, Dana.
Thank you. Real quick, I wanted to add to the addressing slides that to contact addressing, you'll email pacenter@clarkcountynv.gov. And if you put the word address in the subject line, that way the email can get forwarded to the addressing work group and they'll be able to address any questions you have. Okay, so now for fee workup. The fee workup team calculates the building permit fees once all workflow tasks have been completed. The plan review and permit fees are based on the project valuation, which is determined by the total value of work. This includes materials and labor, site development, finish work, and sub-trades such as electrical, mechanical, and plumbing. The complete definition for the construction valuation can be found in our administrative code located on our website under services, then library, then current codes and ordinances. If you would like an estimate of the permit fees, there is a fee calculator available on our website. If you go to services, permit issuance, and then select fee calculator, it'll take you to the fee calculator. On the fee calculator page, select the blue fee calculator link. Information and links on development impact fees will be listed. If you are trying to get a permit for a new building or an addition, you may have development impact fees assessed to the permit. And we collect these development impact fees for other agencies. To use the fee calculator, select permit at the top of the screen, then enter the valuation of the project and select calculate to get an estimate of the plan review, permit, zoning, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical fees. Or if you're going to apply for a grading permit, you would select grading to get a fee estimate. Or if you are submitting for a standalone electrical, mechanical, or plumbing permit, you would select the sub-permit option to get a fee estimate. When the fee workup is complete, the permit status will change to ready to issue, and the contact person will receive 2 emails. One email will let you know the permit is ready, and the second email will tell you what your conditions of approval are. Be sure to click the attachments in the emails because that's where you're going to find the list of conditions and also the amount due.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll go on to permit issue. Let's get it ready so that you can pull your permit. And I'll turn it back over to Venisa.
So once your permit is in ready to issue status, all prior to permit issuance conditions must be met before the system will allow you to make payment. Some of the conditions will state if you need to email your documents. Be sure when you do email your documents, you're putting the permit number in the subject line. And if you need any assistance, you can always email or reach out to permit issuance directly at eplanissuance@clarkcounty.gov. To see the list of the conditions of approval, you can visit our website under permit issuance under conditions of approval. Next slide, please. Once the conditions have been met, the fees can be paid by the licensed contractor listed on the application or the property owner of record. Customers can pay via credit card, bank account, e-check, trust account, or a wire transfer. Customers will be emailed a copy of the receipt and permit directly via email. The plans will be available for download by the customer. And if you have any questions via wire transfers or trust accounts, you can reach out directly to our finance department for assistance at the email that's shown on the slide.
Thank you, Venisa. And yes, make sure if you are doing a wire transfer that you contact the finance team first. little bit ago, we received a wire transfer with money, but we had no idea what permit it belonged to. So just make sure if you do use that option that you're communicating with us. And with that, let's talk a little bit about revisions, and I will turn over to Tarek to educate us on that. Tarek, are you still here? Tarek, it looks like you're muted if you're talking. All right, maybe he's having some technical difficulties, so I'll go ahead and go over revisions here. If you're applying for a revision, it has to happen after the permit is issued. The only time the system will allow you to apply for a revision is if the permit record is in issued, permit issued, or active status. Active status is used when you have those standard plans. You can submit through the Citizens Access Portal a revision by selecting the amendment button. So when you search for your permit number in the Citizens Access Portal, you'll see an amendment button and you'll click on that, and then it'll prompt a little selection where you can like add a contact or submit a revision. Just click submit a revision, and it will guide you through it. Basically, you'll upload the revised documents and keep clicking continue till you get finished, and it will go into the plan review queue for review. And you'll get a revision number, which will be the same as your permit number with a -R. And depending on how many revisions you've submitted to that permit number, it would be R001 or R0050, depending on how many you've applied for. If you need some guides and information on how to submit a revision on our Citizens Access Portal of our website, as you can see here in the screenshot, there's a little document that shows you how it's under submitting plan revisions. So revisions can affect inspections. If your permit is issued and it's out there in inspections, if you have a revision into that permit, but it's not approved yet, it's going to affect you being able to schedule inspections and get them approved, because obviously we need the revisions approved, because if something is being revised, the inspectors are going to need those revised plans for them to be able to view out in the field in order to inspect off of what's currently being built and approved. If a revision is created on accident and you need to withdraw the revision, you can go to the website under services, and on the left side, go to permit issuance, and there's some sample letters there on, to use to submit for a withdrawal of either a permit or revision. And on the sample letter, it will tell you the email address that you're going to send that request to, whether it be a withdrawal, cancellation, or an extension. Now we're going to talk a little bit about revisions with additional scope of work. And so I'm going to let Katie tell you about that. She She reviews revisions with additional scope of work when they're first submitted, just to make sure that she sees that they're submitting for that correctly.
Hi, so revisions with additional scope of work are revisions that add height, valuation, or square footage to an original record. An example of this would be if your original permit scope was to construct a new shell building and you applied for a revision to increase the footprint, that would be a revision additional scope of work because you are adding square footage to the original record. Revisions additional scope of work require an hourly plan review form, which can be found at our website by selecting services on the left side. On the next page, select plan submittal and then select application forms. Then locate the PDF titled Hourly Plan Review Application Form. Please indicate the additional valuation, square footage, or height on the Hourly Plan Review Form application, as well as in the Citizens Access Portal. Revisions additional scope of work cannot be used for pools, signs, fences, grading, or standard plans. Revision's additional scope of work cannot be used to change the original scope of work on the original permit, and it cannot add scope for separate permits required. An example of this would be is if your original permit was to construct a detached garage and you applied for a revision to add a detached casita, that would require a separate permit. Separate permits can reference that they are supplemental to the original permit, or they could just reference the original permit in the scope of work.
Thank you, Katie. Now you got your permit, you got your revisions, and you're out in the field getting some inspections. So we'll turn you over to Matt Brewer, who manages the inspection team.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So the intent of the field inspection is to verify that you have a legal current permit, that the scope of the permit matches the work being performed, the contractor is working from an approved set of plans, and the work being performed meets what is depicted on the plans and meets minimum code. Okay. So here's our field inspection contacts. If you have any questions, if you have any issues, please reach out to us. We're here to answer any of your questions. On our website, we have our assignment areas. We have 5 geographical areas with 5 supervisors. Our contact list has it listed out by group. So if you're in the Southwest, you'll contact Brian Johnson or one of the inspectors in his area. Yeah, you can see all these links here. I'll take you to the map, to the phone list. And our inspection hours are Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 4:30. Monday and Friday, we have a split shift. We have half of our inspectors who work Friday, half work on Monday. So just know that those days are a little hectic, but we're here every day and even on Saturday to do inspections for you guys. Okay, next slide, please. So to schedule an inspection, you'll navigate through the Citizens Access portal and you select schedule an inspection. That's the way to schedule field inspections. That a field inspection means that an inspector will actually come out to the site and perform the inspection. We'll talk about video inspections on the next slide. You can also schedule the field inspections by calling our field services counter at 702-455-8040. Yep, there it goes in the chat. So if you schedule today, the inspections are performed next day. So all of our inspections are next day when you schedule. Okay, next slide, please. So video inspections are a little different, and those are only limited to what's on that drop-down list at the bottom of the screen. There's simple things: water heaters, patio covers, HVAC, and some solar some field-reviewed solar inspections are eligible. So you would navigate through the website, not Acela, but on our website. You click the little safety vest there, schedule inspection. Then there it splits between schedule in person or schedule video. You want to select schedule video. It'll take you to another website application that allows you to pick the type of inspection, and then it also has a calendar date where you put in the information of who's going to be on site that you want the inspector to contact to perform a video inspection. Okay, next slide, please. Conditions of approval, those show up on your permit record. So we have three different hold points. We have framing, foundation, and final. That's a lot of times those conditions don't really fit neatly in there, but that's what we have. So you want to make sure that before you go to your next inspection that those conditions are met. So for example, here prior to foundation, you need a pad certification report. It won't let you schedule the foundation inspection until that's met. Now, when you get to final, there's a lot of conditions in there, all the different departments, water, sanitation. So we have outside agencies and we have our own internal stuff that we need to do to make sure that you have everything to get to the next step. Those other agencies, they're outside of our control. You'll need to contact them and have those conditions marked met to proceed through the process. Okay, next slide, please. We issue TCOs if it's applicable and warrantable. There's 3 levels. First one's fixture, furniture, equipment. You can get that when you're substantially complete, but maybe not everything's complete. Then a stocking and training permit means you're getting a little bit closer. You can move in some merchandise and start training employees. Full TCO means you can use the structure for the intended purpose without restrictions. We have a field inspection guideline, FIGB 008. It tells you all the levels. That's on our website. You can find that through services and then inspections and then TCO occupancy link there. Yeah, but really just talk to the inspection supervisor in the area, coordinate with them ahead of time so they can start checking the status of your project and seeing where we're at and coordinating that temporary certificate of occupancy issuance. Okay, next slide, please. So these are just some of the facts, the FAQs. I applied for a TCO. Can I move in? No, you have to have the actual application approved. You'll get a copy of the TCO before you can move in. Can you get a TCO for a shell building? No. Shell buildings, parking garages, signs, parking shade structures. None of those are habitable buildings, so you don't get a TCO on a non-habitable building. There's no occupancy for those. If it's going to expire, what do you do? Well, you just apply for a new TCO. We'll check the conditions and the status and issue a new one if we can. Same thing with like changing an area or adding area to a TCO or adding from stocking and training to a full occupancy. You apply for a new application and we process a whole new TCO. And I think that's it for us. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. My number's on the website too. Give me a call. We'll help you where we can.
Thank you, Matt. All right, last but definitely not least, very important is our records division. And I'm going to turn over to Dennis Wright so he can tell you about what they do and educate you on when you need records.
All righty, good afternoon. This first slide, I'm gonna go over how to do a permanent complaint general search of the Citizen Access Portal. Okay, so once you get in the Citizen Access Portal, you can go to the top there and click on the building link and search permits. And from there, you can search building code enforcement, fire prevention records. And what you're going to want to do when you get into the general search box there is change your start date to at least 1/1/1980. You want to go back at least that far so your results are going to show up. And then you're going to enter either a permit number, a street number, a street name there, and you're going to click search. One thing to keep in mind if you're searching for fire prevention records, there's a box on the upper right that says search all Clark County records. That box needs to be checked or those fire prevention records will not show up. Next slide, please. So on this slide, we're going to go over once you actually have your search results. Okay, so again, you're going to look down and in your headers and you'll see a bunch of different options there. It'll show the date, it'll show the permit type. You'll see the status down there, a lot of good information for you. If you're just trying to, check on general information like that. Building and fire prevention code enforcement numbers will show up with a prefix of BFC. Building records will show up with a prefix of BD. Fire prevention records will have a prefix of FP. You're also going to see the status for complaints here, as well as that permit information. You can also download this list as a CSV file. It would be an Excel file, which is really useful too. Next slide, please. So on this slide, we're going to go over document image search. So this is where you actually search for the documents themselves. Okay, so what we were talking about previously is more information based. Like this is to obtain actual documents if you need to. Okay, so to do so, you would go to services on the left-hand side on the Clark County website. You're going to go to records, and then you're going to go to where it says document image search print TCO CO. Okay, and once you're there, We generally tell people to search by either location or record number. You can search by parcel, but we don't recommend it because the parcel numbers change. Okay, and just some general information about the records and what's available. Generally, most building records are going to go from the 1970s to present, except for custom homes, which would be from the mid 1990s to present. Other than that, just one thing to be mindful of is that building and fire prevention code enforcement documents generally start from 1998 to present. Next slide, please. So on the records main webpage, there's a lot of good information here too. You can actually make a records request right from that webpage. Okay, so the records request form is there. There's a link there for that. You would need to download that, complete that form, and then you would email that to us at dsrecords@clarkcountynv.gov. Okay, and just some things to note when you're filling out the request. We need as much information on that as possible, so be as specific as you can. The type of records you're requesting, subject, approximate dates, method of delivery, generally it'd be hard copy or electronic. And once we receive that request, we generally try to get that back within 5 business days, okay? If you need to call the office for any reason to talk to one of the records techs here, you can give us a call at 702-455-3029, or if you need to do any research in person, you can come down to the department at 4701 West Russell anytime during business hours, Monday through Thursday, and that'd be 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Next slide, please. And last but not least, if you're looking to get an inspection history report, you would go back to that records webpage, and there's an inspection history tile there that you would click. And then what you're going to do there is just enter the permit number in that search field, and it'll generate an inspection history report for you. You can also do so through the Citizens Access Portal too. Like we saw previously, you can hover over building, and then there's actually a selection there to choose inspection history report there as well. And it'll generate a report there for you. All right, and that is it for me.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, just a little disclaimer here. We gave you a lot of information today. Some of it could be subject to change after this presentation, really primarily because we're always trying to improve our processes so that in the end we can help our customers get through quicker and more efficiently. So sometimes, you know, some things can change, small minor details. So please visit our website for the most up-to-date information on our programs, and we'll continue to have these workshops every month and update the presentations if there's any changes as well. This particular workshop, the basics of electronic permitting, we try to have this workshop at least once every 3 months, just so that if any companies have new staff or we have new people coming into Vegas that need to learn our permitting process, it just goes over those basics. And then we'll have more detailed workshops on certain subjects in between these. So we really appreciate you all joining us today. Here's just some information on this last page. Like I said, we're more than happy to share this presentation with you in PDF form after. And with that, Ava, if you could go ahead and stop the recording of the workshop, then I'll end the actual presentation and ask all the Clark County employees to please turn on your videos so we can open up to answer any questions that any of you may have.